Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew and welcome to another episode of Live Listen Erase, the episodes where we just bring about a whole panel to bring on a whole new Wheel of Pain. And I have a fantastic panel here. We have the majestic, as always, Hector. It's great to see you on this one here. How are you today, Hector? Wearing the right shirt as well.
I'm celebrating that the Smashing Pumpkins are back, baby.
They're backing with a passion. That's it, man. And JC, we got you on on another panel. I'm so happy to have you on board for another panel. How are you going today?
I'm doing good, thanks.
That's the way, man. And for the first time ever, we got Nick over here, right in the bottom here. How are you, Nick? It's great to have you on board for an episode.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh yeah, I'm keen. Like you had some cool choices on your list that we all provided. So for those who are unaware, basically the way that this whole thing works, live listen erased. We get three choices. We're going to have for us. We're going to discuss the three albums. Each one of us gave albums to pick. We've listened to them, and we've got a wheel of pain that'll choose the three records. Now, out of these three records, we're going to discuss them, and then we're going to talk at the end, say which one we will listen to forever, which one that we are going to see live, performed once only, and that's it, get done and dusted, and which one we would erase. So, without further ado, let's get into the Wheel of Pain screen here. I don't know if you guys...
Where the hell is the wheel?
The wheel. Can you see it, everyone? Like, all up there on that
I can
screen
see
there?
it.
Fantastic there, man. I hope that you guys can hear the audios as well. Like, I selected some stupid audio cues, and hopefully that comes through here. But let's get down to the business side of things and find out who's up first. Ooh. Dandelion is up for the first choice there. That is an interesting release there. I think that was a JC pick, so that's cool to see there.
A JCP.
JC pick for that one. The next one that we're going to have up. Oh, yes! Dead Kelly. That was my selection, obviously, being the Australian with the big muscled, roided up kangaroo on the front there. And, oh boy, we're going to have an interesting selection. The third one we have. Ooh! I Mother Earth. And that was Nick's choice, I'm pretty sure, as well.
Nick's choice.
So we have three picks, everyone. Interesting records to go through. And let's pop it back into the big screen. Fantastic. There we go. Three interesting choices there. Sorry, Hector. Maybe next time for your albums, but you had some pretty cool choices as well. Yeah, it's an angry face. But I think we've got a pretty intriguing list to come across here. Dandelion, Dead Kelly, and I Mother Earth, was it? Yeah. Like...
Yeah.
That was an intriguing one there. I was just trying to Google that one before. It was a bit hard. Let's kick things off, first of all, with Dandelion. JC, this is your pick. Do you want to give a bit of a history in regards to Dandelion?
Yeah, it was one of those bands that was like right around the grunge time. And I remember there was one song called Waiting for a Ride. I think I had this on a cassette I used to listen to all the time. But it's one of those bands that I haven't listened to in a long time. And then just for some reason, I was thinking of albums I used to listen to, but I haven't like heard in a while. So this one just came to mind. And I think it's one of those bands that they were like kind of alternative, kind of metal. They were like right in between. So that's why I chose this one because I think it's just one of those albums that like you don't really hear much about it lately. I think they were like popular for like a little bit. I think they came out around 1993 or around that time, but it was like they're kind of like a one-hit wonder band. But I thought it's pretty good because they're very unique. They're like grunge, but like a little heavier, but like almost metal. So
Yeah,
They're
that's
like
why I
a
really like this.
white zombie.
they're like
It's
Yeah,
like
what?
White
the sound
Zombie.
that,
Yeah,
White Zombie.
like a
Yeah.
grungier version of White Zombie.
I always thought it was a bit like Henry Rollins.
Oh, Rollins band.
Yeah.
That's another good one. Yeah, yeah. He was another one that didn't really fit into. It was like alternative around that same time.
Mm, mm. Yeah, it was a very interesting
So yeah,
record.
so this album, I'm not sure. It's the debut. I think I'm gonna be sick. Came out in 1993. So yeah.
What a name of a record, huh? I think I'm going to be sick. Oh, yeah. How good was the record? How good was the music? Oh, it's so good. I think I'm going to be sick, you know? And it's like a really weird as well album artwork. I guess it's taken from a live. Is that a person on the front there kind of like leaning back or like a live performance thing? It's a bit hard to see from that angle, but
Yeah, it's hard to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, it's like really noisy and stuff like that. But I like this record. It was like a really good record there. So let's go. Hector, do you want to talk about this record first? What are your thoughts in regards to this one?
So I when I listened to this, I'm like, this sounds like I may have listened to this, but I couldn't remember. And yeah, they sound like they first I thought maybe they're like a grunge Seattle band, but no, they're not from Seattle. They're from Philadelphia. I just Googled it. And yeah, they had like I don't know, they reminded me, they had like a grungier, but like a grungier, more metal sound, like a Babes in Toyland and those type of bands. You remember those bands, JC, Babes in Toyland and
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
where
about
it's
like
like,
Tool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
early
yeah, it's
Tool,
like
early Tool.
alternative, but
Maybe
it
that
can be
Tool like
heavy.
Undertow, like that type of album. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, they have, and I also because there was a Mudhoney record, which I think is
Oh
"Touch Me, I'm
shit.
Sick."
Oh yeah, there was. Yeah, Mudhoney.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
so I got it confused with instead that "Mudhoney, touch me, I'm sick," but it's no, it's the other way around. And I don't know if uh, have you ever seen the movie Singles, where the band for Matt Dillon has like the Citizen Dick, and they have they do the touch me, I'm touch me, but it's instead of touch me, I'm sick, it's touch me, I'm queue for money demonetization. So I don't know. So I remembered that. But yeah, I thought the album was pretty cool. And I'm like, I don't remember if I listened to this back in the 90s because I got into music like in 92, 90, 93. And maybe I think I saw them on MTV. JC, which one was the hit? What song from the album was the
Oh
hit?
yeah.
Yeah,
What was it?
it's the first song, "Waiting for a Ride."
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think I've listened to that song. It must have been on
You
possibly on
probably heard it. Yeah.
120 minutes because I used to watch that. But yeah, uh, actually from JC Speaks, this is the only album that I didn't know because I had listened to the other two, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It had like a grunginess, but with a vibe and attitude. So I enjoyed that from that album. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, man. That's good. Good choices there. Nick, what are your thoughts in regards to this record?
Yeah, I like this. It was because we were listening, there was a lot of metal in this kind of a pod of albums that we were listening to. This was actually a little bit of a nice change for me because it was more in, like we were saying, that grunge kind of vein. It did remind me immediately of Alice in Chains. I thought the singer very much had like a Lane Staley and almost a Kurt Cobain kind of quality to
Yeah.
his voice. I really like that rasp in their singer's voice. I can see if going to see them live, that he would be a really great singer to go see live. I feel like he'd be really entertaining. And this one right from the get go. It's very 90s sounding. Like when you see that came out in
Oh yeah.
1993, it's very much that 1993 sound, and it kind of makes me wish there was more music like that nowadays, because I feel like things are so genre specific now with rock music. It's very much, it's like either metal or it's softer rock, and there's not really as many kind of grunge, middle of the road, still heavy but still melodic kind of bands like this anymore. And so it reminded me of like Alice in Chains. It reminded me of Nirvana, a little bit of Soul Asylum in there too. I don't know if anybody,
Yeah.
anybody else got that kind of
I
vibe
can
to it
see
as
that.
well.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Soul Asylum. And actually the thing I liked about this record is it had an old school hidden track on it, like you were
Oh
listening
yeah.
to the CD.
Yeah, Weight of the
Yeah.
World, but it's
I
like
think the last
13-minute
song on the record.
run time.
Yeah, I like that. So I'd never actually heard of Dandelion. I'd never heard of this band before. I never listened to this record, but I really enjoyed it. So I like this one.
No, that's good, man. Yeah, look, out of your JC's picks, I definitely would say this is like probably one of my favorite ones. And I love JC's picks. He's always got these weird bands that I usually wouldn't have heard of. And Dandelion is no different for this circumstance. But he always brings and delivers. Like, I don't know, JC, you seem to be vibing with me quite well with the last list that you had. I'm trying to think of that thrash metal band, Malaya. Yeah, the
Malaya Rage.
Yeah, Malaya's Rage, yeah. They were really, I love that record, you know, and Dandelion, this is another record. I remember, like, you picked your records, and I was listening to this one purely. Usually I had the whole playlist on shuffle, but I'm like, no, I'm going to listen to this Dandelion one just, you know, from start to finish. And I'm listening to it going, oh my God, you know, this is like very, 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 like everyone else said, of the 90s era sound. It's not quite, it's got elements of metal, but it's not in that area like Nick also mentioned. It also has roots in like punk. It almost reminded me of the Descendants in some sections. You know, it's just got this vibe and this energy to it that is highly aggressive. And, you know, I don't want to say it's like Helmet, because they're just not that heavy. But they definitely bring something different to the fold as far as like grunge goes. And, you know, if you weren't Nirvana, or if you weren't Pearl Jam or any of those big bands, you kind of fell wayside to being a very generic kind of band. But I feel like Dandelion kind of stood out on their own 2 feet in regards to this record. And yeah, I loved it. I absolutely love this record. So yeah, good choice there, JC. Do you want to add some final notes to this one?
Yeah, I think it's very like underrated. Like I said, I thought you guys like might have known it, but I guess maybe it was more of like an American thing. Maybe it was popular back then, or maybe it was just because of that one hit I knew. But yeah, I thought it was just one of those bands. I guess they kind of disappeared. I'm like looking at their discography. They only released one more album. I guess they must have like broke up or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's just one of those like hidden like gems of like things you don't hear too much. Yeah.
no, fair.
Yeah, it says here that in 2019 they reunited for one gig at Trocadero in their hometown of Philadelphia. However, the original lineup, only Dante Cimino and Michael Morpurgo were present that night.
Ooh,
And Kevin
So,
Morpurgo passed away in 2023.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit sad, but at least we know the history as well. And if people are watching this,
The vocalist. So the vocalist died in 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least we know some more about the history of the band as well. So that's interesting to know.
Yeah. But always with JC, he brings something from the vault.
Oh yeah.
like yeah, last time the tango, and I'm like, where does JC get these bands? Like,
I try to think of albums that like I listened to when I was younger that were not like the obvious ones because I used to buy like a lot of like I bought all the big bands, the Metallica, Megadeth, the grunge bands, like all the big names, but these like lesser known bands I used to like buy these CDs and or tapes or whatever.
yeah.
And this was one of them. I think I must have like watched it on either Headbangers Ball or on the radio or whatever.
Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I got into a lot of music actually from back in the early days. They had a Headbangers Ball CD. It was like a compilation disc, 2 CDs set, and I owe a lot of my musical taste from that record alone. Like so many bands. Deftones are on it. I think Static X as well was on there. Godsmack, unfortunately. But anyway, look, mistakes were made. All right, so we'll move on to my selection. Oh boy, am I so happy to be having this one, and I'm sure everyone here is scratching their head at this record. So, Dead Kelly. I just want to actually preface this before by saying, when we brought JC on for some of the episodes prior, and we were discussing, like JC just said, some stuff that you might have listened to back in your past, but may not be super famous. And that's what I decided to do with my list, with my 3 selections in regards to, what is here. Except for one of the albums was more new. But Dead Kelly was an artist that I remember listening to way back in the day, a couple of years back anyway. And I feel like they're very famous in Australia, or somewhat famous in Australia, but no one else would know a thing about them. And I'm guaranteeing some of the titles from this video is about to be demonetized with all the stuff I'm about to say. But anyway, so Dead Kelly has, of course, this roided. I'll point over this way. This roided up kangaroo in the album cover, and I would have to clarify to all the American viewers that's actually how they look. That's not a CGI animated or anything. That's generally how a red kangaroo looks, and they stand at over
Dude,
2
I'm
meters.
afraid of kangaroos now when I watch that kangaroo.
They're like 2 meters tall. Like they can really. Oh yeah, they that's a big red kangaroo for my American listeners and stuff. That is they're freaking annoying. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's a shite load of them around Australia. That is when they start getting into mating season and they fight, and they usually jump up on their tails and kick each other with their big powerful legs. But before they do this, they kind of get this staunch like, I've been lifting, bro. Check me, I'm swole. Look to them. So it's this interesting little angle there.
They don't
Anyway,
even go to the gym.
they don't need leg day. That's every day for them. Like. Do you need to lift? Now, Dead Kelly has an interesting history because they're a band that, well, they began off as a group that was a bit of a, how do I describe them? They were an experiment. So the group founded because of, when the musician was in another group and they imploded. He started this group and said, all right, I want to just write heavy metal. Heaviest metal I can write for an Australian group, but I'm not going to promote it. I'm going to allow the internet to decide how famous I get, so I'm just going to release music, put it out there, and just see what happens. So Dead Kelly's first record was released, and we'll get to the question I raised in the email shortly, but basically there was a video that was made, and it was for their first single called The Legend of Bori. Now, this video clip was done by another famous Australian animator who does the Big Les show, if anyone's ever heard of that. You got Sassy the Sasquatch. It's a very obscure humour, very weird. But he did the video clip to The Legend of Bori, Part 1. And that became like this, it blew up in Australia. And when they did this second album, they did The Legend of Bori Part 2. And it's been this ongoing joke ever since to do The Legend of Bori Part 3 and 4. Now, the question I have to ask you guys, I provided a link to you in the emails. Did anyone check out the video to the Legend of Bori Part 1 video clip?
Yeah, I watched it like right before we joined it. It was like an animated and just a lot of like offensive stuff. It's just like killing people on stage and other things I won't mention. Just
yeah,
Dude, I had my
but
kids.
it's just a fun video. Huh?
You had your kids in the room when you saw that. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't. When you put no, I had my kids with me, so I couldn't watch that. No, I had to watch My Little Pony.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, don't watch it if you got your kids this weekend. Don't.
No.
No.
Well, it's
When
a
I saw the
cartoon,
album,
it's for kids.
I listened to the album with headphones, with my daughter sleeping next to me.
That's dedication.
You listened to Dead Kelly with... Oh, jeez.
Yes.
Wow. And I mean, like, the first song for anyone who's just listening and hasn't got the title is called Trust No C Word, which is the Australian way, people. Yeah, everyone's our C words, which can mean a good thing or a bad thing. So, Nico, did you watch the video clip?
I have it up here right now. Just looking at the clip, and yes, the C word beer is in there, and there looks like there's like some sort of there's a shark killing somebody, and some phallic imagery in there as well.
Yes.
It's like almost like something you'd catch on like late night cartoons on like Adult Swim or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of where it was going with that video clip, I guess. And like that's what made it famous. This Legend of Bori is the guy with like in the Legend of Bori video clip, he's got a cock so big that you could slap a thong on it and a hat and just walk it to school. Like that's how big. That's the whole thing about him. And he's a truck driver who chewed a hole in his head while driving 48 hours through the Nullarbor Express. So anyway, it's really fucking weird stuff. So this record is, of course, quasi comedy record, and it just
I'm watching right now.
It makes me so happy that you are watching it right now, and I'm a bit I mean,
Oh my god! Yeah, if my kids would have seen this, yeah, their mother would have not been happy. So my kids are saying that they saw some kangaroos and oh yes, yes. No, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, that this would have caught me in trouble.
Oh, 100%, 100% it would have. So the performers themselves, they actually would dress up with balaclavas, singlets, and thongs, and just like short shorts. And that's how they performed on stage. It's this whole persona. They kept themselves a bit of a secret. And actually, for the longest of times, they did not even perform live. They just would write these albums and just release them. So this record here is the second record, I think. They might have released one or two EPs. It is described as their heaviest record they have ever done, Australian made. And yeah, look, it's a kind of it's a brutal heavy metal record, but it's also a little bit of a joke record at the same time, you know. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Let's start with, I want to go with Nick here. You're smiling too much. You probably got the video clip still going in the background there.
It's definitely interesting. This, I'd never heard of this band before.
You hear at work.
Yeah, I was listening to it at work as usual. And this was interesting. I liked it. It was maybe, I like metal, but maybe not quite this much metal, even though I think there was really some good parts throughout this record. I like that opening track, the Trust No C Word. I felt like that was definitely the great way to set things off. And then I was listening to it. I'm okay, this is really intense right off the bat, which I thought was cool. I thought the guitar solos on this album were incredible.
Oh, yeah.
I thought there's shredding, and then there's really just sometimes those metal guitar players, they just hit the sweet spot with some of the solos. So I really enjoyed that on here. Push Forward, Effin' Engage. I thought that was a really good one. And then there was a song with Linda Brown. Who is Linda Brown? I felt bad about whoever that was in that song. I'm like, is that somebody in Australia?
She had an outback nightmare.
Yeah. So
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure who she is either.
yeah. So there you go. Well, and then I thought the only thing I was like the this is kind of like a nitpick in terms of like the production. I just wish the drums were a little bit heavier. Like I felt the guitars were really heavy, and then the drum sound was a little bit like thin. I don't know. That's just me just being a weird production, kind of like a production thing. But then I really loved Australian Made. I thought that was a really good track. I guess that was the last one. Was that a didgeridoo in there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
hang on, I'm trying to remember. There was, well, yeah, it's a very acoustic-y kind of piece actually. There was a fiddle. I remember hearing that. I think there was
sounded almost Celtic.
Yeah, because I'm well, if you go back to traditional Aussie music, we actually draw a lot from Irish sounds.
Right.
So of course you're going to have the fiddle and all that shit. But yeah, there was a didgeridoo for that one. I remember now. Yeah, which is like, oh yeah, it's one of those things you can add to metal, and it really can emphasize it at points.
And it was a really cool way to end the album too, because I think for the majority of it was pretty freaking heavy, and then at the end there they kind of add in some cool dynamics and some texture in there too. So it was okay for me. I didn't love it, but I think it was a really interesting record to listen to, and definitely a good record to keep me awake at work. That's for sure.
Yeah, no falling asleep and falling off the cliff when you're driving over from this one.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, for sure.
JC, what are your thoughts in regards to this Dead Kelly record?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think I guess this was maybe like the heaviest thing that out of all the albums we listened to. It was like a mix of, I think they mix a lot of like extreme genres. So, I mean, some of it sounds like death metal. They can sound like hardcore, and I think at times they sound more like nu metal, or I mean, like they go to different, even like grindcore. I hear a little bit of that. Yeah, I like the last song that Australian Made with the more the acoustic one. I thought that was just a cool like change of pace. But it was it's pretty cool. It's like the songs are good. I'm not gonna say the song titles. I think there's not really any song titles I could
We
say.
get demonetized
Well,
very
maybe some of
quickly.
them, but
No,
yeah.
if it's after 7 minutes, you're good.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
but, it was yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just like I thought of it like as an extreme metal album with, they do lots of different things, and like you said, if they didn't really take things Like it wasn't very like serious. It's some of it seemed like it was like just like kind of like a fun type of thing.
It's like Australian-made metal
But yeah,
to
it's pretty cool.
ICP
Yeah,
lyrics or something, you know?
It's
yeah,
like the Bloodhound Gang on steroids.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, fair enough there.
Yeah.
What about you, Hector? What about your thoughts on this record
So,
here?
so I think if you look at the album cover, it sounds just like that kangaroo is about to F you up. It's like, come on, man, I'm Australian made. I'll take you on. Uh, I thought, I think it's too long. It's like an hour and 6 minutes of you
Yeah.
being pulverized. And I could just imagine like Nick listening to effing on the piss and people like, Nick, we want those report. No, such is
Yeah.
nice.
Such as knife.
Which I thought is cool because here in Puerto Rico, a few years ago we had this politician that they were doing like this high like town like very expensive town rises and they they were interviewing him on live TV and they
Ooh.
were asking him what about like people that don't have that great money want to buy it or visit. He's like, hey, some people can buy nice things, some cannot. And then he said, such is life on live TV.
You know what's
And then
interesting?
everyone, such is life.
You know what's interesting, actually, because I didn't mention this at the beginning. I was going to say it at the end. Dead Kelly, obviously, is a knockoff for the term Ned Kelly, the very famous bushranger from Australia. He's the guy with the iron helmet who had the slot across his eyes. So that's where you would recognise Ned Kelly from. And his last words were, such is life. It's like this very famous motto in Australia. And it's obviously a play on words when they say such is knife. For this record, so yeah, it's interesting. It's such an easy term. Yeah, such is life.
It's a connection from Puerto Rico to Australia.
It took 150 years, but it travelled there.
It traveled. So yeah, the album, yeah, it's I can listen to it, but it's not something like I'm like I can't wait to re-listen to this. Like it was like a little bit too much sometimes. I'm like, so I agree that the ending, it was because it's like they're slaughtering you like super heavy, and like it's like a heavier. It's like Pantera and the Bloodhound Gang had a baby.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to say
And that's
it.
the case. So yeah, I have to be in the mood to listen to it. I think it's a good record, like to do some to lift some weights.
Yeah, you're definitely right there. You want to be at the
Go to
gym
the
listening
gym
to
and
this.
listen to that.
Yeah, you just like pumping iron and effing up on the piss. Which, by the way, for the Americans, that means you're drinking. Get on the piss. It means alcohol, like beer. So, oh my god, yeah, slave to the crystal pipe and stuff like that was an interesting one. But what I found about this record compared to their other stuff is also it was really when it got to the harsh vocals, it was a bit too much. Like the cleaner vocals, that's where it was really at, and you can understand what the hell's going on. And I guess, like Nick said as well, kind of falls into that grindcore kind of territory in some instances as well. But yeah, they need more contrast between the two. I think when they said it was their heaviest record, I think it's because of the vocals as well. Because the musicianship, holy crap, it's really good. It's really good on here. And I guess, Dead Kelly, if you're watching, you can be proud to say that you are definitely Australia's heaviest metal band, and I think we have a panel here that would agree with you. So that brings us up to... Sorry?
Well, I've listened to Psychroptic. They're from Tasmania and they're pretty heavy.
Yeah, they give them a run for their money. I think if Dead Kelly be like, yeah, we'll get them, effing up on the piss with them. So that brings us to the last choice here we got, and I Mother Earth, blue. What was it? Blue, orange, green, wasn't it?
Blue, green, orange.
Blue, green, orange. I couldn't find this album at first on Apple Music or Spotify. This is like
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I had to go to YouTube and I had to like sit there and listen to it specifically for this one.
Yeah.
And I had a funny feeling. I'm listening to it and going, this is like the last record I needed to listen to. And I bet it's going to be picked because it's the one I've least listened to as well. But I'm very fresh on it now. So, Nick, run us through this band. What's up with this one here?
Yeah, maybe there's some like rights or licensing issues, like listening to the album outside of Canada. But I Mother Earth were or they're still together, but they were very much a very popular band in Canada in the mid 1990s. They came out in 1993 with an album called Dig. And they were very popular on Much Music, which is a video station here in Canada. It no longer exists, but it was a very big thing in the 1990s. If you were wanted to be a band that could break big in Canada, you were on Much Music. They were all over the radio. And then Blue Green Orange came out in 1999. It was actually their first album with their new singer, their second singer. They had a singer before that called named Edwin. He was on the first two records, and then he left the band.
Oh,
And then they got this new guy named Brian Byrne. I Mother Earth is from like the same general era as me, like the general like Toronto kind of Hamilton area of Canada. And the creative force behind the band is actually the two brothers, which is Jag and Christian. Jag Tan is the guitar player, Christian Tan is the drummer. He writes all the lyrics for the band. So they are the creative force behind I Mother Earth. Brian Byrne was their second singer. This album came out in 1999. And I actually didn't like it when it came out in 1999. I thought it was really, really bad. The big single from this record is called "Summertime in the Void." That was a
yeah.
big hit for them when it came out in 1999, and I kind of got off the I Mother Earth train at that time when this record came out. But then a few years later, I caught them live, and I was really blown away by the new singer. Went back and listened to this record, and I've been a huge fan ever since. So this is like, it's it's a little bit more. They do lots of different things. They have like a lot of there's a lot of I feel like a lot of Santana in their sound.
Mm.
There's a lot of prog rock. There's a lot of hard rock in there. And yeah, they're kind of different than a lot of other bands from that time in the 90s because they do a lot of extended jams. They do a lot of different things, and this was one of my favorite records kind of after it came out. But I'm actually really curious to hear what you guys have to think about this because this is one of my favorite bands. I actually saw them live a couple years ago. They're fantastic, and yeah, this is a really great record for me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts.
Oh, here we go then. Yeah, so let's kick it. It's always interesting when you got like this band. You're like, oh man, I hope people like this. That moment of pause, like, do they?
Yeah.
Do they like it?
Yeah.
Let's kick it off to Hector. What are your first impressions on this album?
So it's funny. I was that record I was looking for, and I couldn't. And I was on Spotify, and there was only one, and I'm like, Nick, where the hell is this record? And he's like, don't you have it in Puerto Rico? No, it's they only have like one thing. So he sent me the YouTube uh, link. So I was listening to it, and I thought it was interesting because it had funk, it had alternative.
Yeah.
There's a song that I remember I wrote to Nick, like, this sounds like a Radiohead song. I think it was the one that has Mars. So uh,
Yeah.
it was, I loved it. I loved the experimentation in this record. I found this record, every song had like a different elements to it. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And I thought, why wasn't this band bigger? Because
Yeah.
I've never heard of, like, I Mother Who? Like, I knew Mother Love Bone, but I Mother Earth, I never listened to them. So yeah, it was interesting. I didn't know they had a new singer for this, but the singer, there's some like some progressive rock in some of the songs, but progressive accessible progressive. So I really enjoyed it because they had a little bit of everything. And I think I said to Nick, they reminded me of they had like some Faith No More mixed with some Radiohead, mixing with some pop rock and put it all there and you got I'm Mother Earth. So I didn't, I want to listen to more of their stuff. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough then. And JC, what about your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, what's interesting, I recognized the name, but this I didn't know about this album. So I think I knew like their first album, Dig, or maybe the second one, Scenery and Fish, because I'm looking at their like charts right now, and I noticed that like they had a couple like songs that were on the US rock charts, like Not Quite Sonic and So Gently We Go, One More Astronaut. And I probably would like I didn't go back and listen to those, but I probably would recognize them if I did. So I think I knew this band like a little bit, from the like early '90s. I guess around this 93, 94. I guess around the same time that Dandelion album came out. But I kind of like never listened to them again. And I noticed that I think they were more popular in Canada with their like other albums afterwards. But I think like in the US they were kind of like known for like a little bit in the '90s, and then like they kind of like disappeared. But yeah, I liked it. It's alternative. It's like Radiohead, but then there's some, I don't know, like some like psychedelic stuff. Some of it sounds like the Beatles, and yeah, there's like a lot of stuff in here, but it's mostly like one of those like alternative bands, something like Candlebox or Collective Soul, like that type of that like post like the second wave of grunge, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm kind of interested in like listening to this band. I probably need to listen to their early stuff again just to see if I remember some of it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Why is
Yeah,
it
I
not
liked
on
it, yeah.
Spotify?
Yeah, it's like it's got to be something weird with their like licensing or their rights coming out of Canada, because they are
I
like, you know,
listen to
super
everything on YouTube
international.
Music, so yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Listen here, buddy. We gotta get them on Spotify. Yeah. No, I don't know. It gives me. It's so annoying when you. It's like music that is on YouTube and then it's just not on Spotify.
He's like, God damn it, I gotta turn the computer on.
What do you mean? I have to keep this on unlocked? Ah.
Yeah, you can only get it on Kazaa. You know, you have to download it old
Yeah.
school. You know,
Yeah, you
get
have
the
to
torrents
download,
or whatever.
yeah, LimeWire or something. You know, like I'm listening to bluegreen-orange.exe. Oh man, I loved this album. Out of your 3 records that you sent over, this was definitely my favorite. And like,
Mine too.
yeah, it was like listening to it, going over it, just going, oh, you know, Don Bonko, cool. The other one as well, Billy, was cool as well. But I Mother Earth was so vastly different compared to those other musicians that you picked, and it was definitely more in line with the styles of music that I really enjoy. You know, I'm listening to it, and you think you can tell just when you're starting to listen to it, like, yeah, this is like one of the 90s alt rock things. No, it just like it changes. All of a sudden, there's this 7-minute long track, and you know, and what is it, Summertime in the Void, and I'm listening to it, just going, man, this is just wow. You know, like you're going on a bloody trip or something. For insight, I was listening to this earlier today. I was grouting my bathroom tiles, and perfect imagery. I'm just sitting there, like, you know, phones up there, burning through battery power, and listening to, Summertime in the Void. I'm just sitting there with the grout, just going at it, and like, man, this is like the perfect music. Like, I could be listening to Dead Kelly, and I'd be just getting absolute shits. But no, here I am listening to this music. It was really chilled, really awesome to hear this band and their music, listening to them. I don't know, it just kind of like, you know, made me feel, it just wound me down, and I think it was a perfect thing. So I'm so glad.
You became one with the tile.
I became one with the grout, sitting there with the tool, like,
I Mother Earth.
yeah, I grout earth. You know what? I'm so happy I decided against. I was originally going to send you an email because I couldn't find the album and just request you to change it. But I'm so glad I didn't. I'm like, nah, fuck this. If you selected this, I'm gonna listen to it somehow. Like Black Sabbath in the '90s era with Tony Martin, all of their albums were on YouTube, and you could listen to them there. But now, as of a couple of weeks ago, they're on Spotify and all the streaming apps. I'm hoping one day we can get this resolved, and I Mother Earth and the newest, and their records can one day make their way over to Spotify and iTunes. Oh, and that's the other thing as well. You mentioned this was the first one with the new singer. When I was looking over the YouTube, comments, because there's not a lot on the comment section, there was a lot of people just like, first, the usual stuff on YouTube, and then like the same person came back 3 years later to write second, and I'm like, holy shit.
I could
Like, that's
write like
Quality,
fern.
quality comments.
like that's some dedicated fan base right there, right? But anyway, but there was one thing I was looking at it going, what are they talking about when they're mentioning Edwin? They were talking about Edwin, and the singer, and the first thing that came to my mind was like Edwin Starr, who did War.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh,
what
yeah,
are
the
they
old school soul
talking
singer.
about Edwin here? I'm so
Yeah.
confused. Didn't do the research,
Yeah.
obviously, on that one. But now it makes sense when you mention it. There's a lot of people just saying, "Oh, yeah, Edwin was good, but this is good," and blah 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 blah. And
And now now Edwin is back with the band. They played live, and then when I saw them live 2 years ago, they played songs from all four albums with both singers. So it was pretty cool. They did like from each album, and then at the end, both singers came out and sang together, which was actually pretty cool. So it's been going back and forth. They were like with Edwin, then they went to Brian,
Did
then
they
back to
hug
Edwin.
and kiss like Dave Navarro did with Anthony Kiedis?
I was going to say, did they do like a Halloween approach where they have both singers
Well,
now?
Well, I got COVID at the I Mother Earth concert, so you know what I mean. Like, who knows what was flying around that night?
I Mother
Did they
COVID.
kiss you, man?
What was that? Yeah,
Like, oh, it's Nick Zeno. Ah.
yeah, exactly.
Come
Bring it in
here,
there, brother.
watch the concert.
Yeah.
Just cough in your face like
I Mother Earth.
I Mother Earth, I test positive. Yes, like it's like that scene out of Simpsons, like Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Homer Simpson, nodding
We
politely.
become so lazy that if an album is not on Spotify or streaming services, we don't want to listen to it. So
Yes.
No, nobody
I'm
just
also-
pirates it anymore.
Yeah. yeah. You don't have to admit anything in the comments section. That might be liable for, for search and seizures by the FBI or something.
We'll get someone that I still pirate music.
But yeah,
I have blue green orange. I have blue green orange in my CD tower here, so I have proof that I bought this album.
I've got to ask you, is that
Nice.
some He-Man looking poster in the background there? That looks like some weird stuff going on. Conan the Barbarian over your shoulder.
This one?
Yeah, what is that?
That's a Don Broco poster.
Don Broke. Ah.
Yeah, that's from one of their videos. They were action figures in their videos. So I picked that up in one of their shows.
America. I will never die. Sponsored by Don Bronco. So,
Yeah, exactly.
oh my gosh. Yeah, Nick, did you have anything to finalize on Mother Earth before we go on some more random tangents, I guess?
No, I'm pleased that you guys liked it. They're one of my favorite Canadian bands. I grew up with them, and they continue to be just one of those go-to bands. Like I had them on in the car the other day, blasting pretty loud, rocking out. So that was always good. And yeah, they're just a great band. So yeah, definitely glad to hear you guys liked it.
Perfect there. So now we get to the final part of our series here where we are going to make a tough decision in regards to all of these artists. And we are going to have to make some very, very tough decisions. Who are we going to erase? Who are we going to listen to forever? And, of course, who are we going to see live? It's going to be very curious to see everyone's picks and, of course, why they pick what they do. So let's jump over to Hector for the first one and find out your picks for this one.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Australia, but I would erase that Kelly. It's
I'm going to send that
fine,
kangaroo
but-
after you.
Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, man. I can take them. Bring that kangaroo. But yeah, no, they're fun to listen to, but it's not something that I would go out of my way to listen to a lot. So yeah, to me, it was an easy. Out of your picks, it was my least favorite. So, so that was the one that I would erase. I would like to see live Dandelion, but go in a time machine to the 90s. Because that would have been an amazing show. I'm when I was listening to this, I was thinking, why was this band not bigger? They had the talent, and they were at the right time. They came at the right time, like Nirvana, all those bands. So I'm not sure what happened there, why it wasn't more popular, because I thought that album kicked ass and it had a lot of different elements. So I think that would be a great concert to see Dandelion live, but in the 90s, because I don't think they're around anymore. So it would be great. So I would listen to forever to I Mother Earth. I want to listen to more I Mother Earth because I thought their music was really a fresh of breath of fresh breath air because
A breath
like
of
every
fresh air.
track on the record, breath fresh and breath air, because every song on the record had like something different. Like I wasn't expecting some of the changes. I'm like, wow, they're really talented, really different. And I only listen to the new singer. I don't know like what the old singer sounds like, but
Yeah.
uh, if they both sound good, yeah, I'm all for it. I thought it was really interesting, and I'm glad I wasn't a lazy, I wasn't as lazy and went to YouTube to listen to that album. So please, I Mother Earth, get your shit together, man. Put it on streaming services, man.
Figure
Push
it
your
out.
label. Come on, man. Let's get a petition.
Yeah.
Oh man, what about you, JC? What are your picks for this one?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go the same way because Dead Kelly, I'll erase them. It's not that I didn't like them, it's just that they're okay, but I mean it's like I've heard lots of other bands that sound like them. But I think it was because of the other ones. Dandelion, I think I said, just like Hector said, the fact that they only have two albums, so I would like go back in time and see
Mm.
them live. So I think it would be a pretty cool show. And with I'm Mother Earth, like they have like a larger discography, so I thought it would make sense to listen to them forever. And I liked the album, and I think their earlier albums, I think that they were more like had a more of a grunge sound on their first two albums, and then I have to listen to the other ones, but I think they kind of like almost like Radiohead. Like they started out like their first album was almost like grunge, then they kind of went into a different direction. But this band, I guess, will be kind of similar to that. So I'm interested in listening to I Mother Earth a little more. So that's why I picked them for listen to forever. Yeah,
No, fair enough then.
yeah.
What about you, Nick? What are you picking and why?
I think I'm pretty much going to do the same order as well, which is Dead Kelly would be erased. Which is I did like it, but it was a little bit too heavy for me. Like I think I'm always a melody guy. I do like the heavy, but I like it to be offset by a little bit more melody than what is done on this record. Even though there are some really awesome, like you were saying, like the musicianship is like next level as it is on a lot of. You can't phone in metal. You can't just say, oh yeah, we'll just. It's very precise. It's very technical. There's a lot of talent that goes into that. But just maybe a little more sing along would have been nice. Something to sing along with a little bit more on that record would have been cool. And yeah, again with live, I would say with Dandelion, that would be the one that I would like to go back and see live as well. It's kind of like a little bit of a musical blind spot for me because I think I know all the '90s bands that were around during that time that were making waves, and it's a little bit of it was cool for me to discover this one and the other one that JC listed for us, which was Sponge, kind of in that same kind of era of music and just bands that I'd never really heard before. So that was really enjoyable to kind of discover a band from that period that I had never heard before, and I would like to listen to some more of that stuff as well. And then yeah, listen forever. Like I'm Mother Earth is still probably my all-time favorite Canadian band. I've been listening to them since I was like 12 or 13 years old. When I was in elementary school, when I was in high school, and I continue to just really just love their music so much. There are some bands that you grow up with that maybe you don't listen to as much as when you get older, but they're one of those bands that I listen to. Same with like Oasis, obviously, like just those bands that I loved when I was younger. Smashing Pumpkins, I loved them when I was younger. I love them now the same as I always have, and so that's definitely the band that I would listen to forever for sure.
No, perfect.
So
Man,
I'm guessing we can't travel to Australia now.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
if
Yeah,
we travel
you're
to
banned from the
Australia,
country.
like there'll be like some kangaroos. Are you Hector? And they're like,
There'd be kangaroos
Like
holding
Dead
the
Kelly.
sign up with like this big muscular arms.
Australian band.
We won't send the mob. We'll send the ruse. Like, man, I would have expected more out of the fellow Commonwealth. I'm so disappointed, Nick.
I'm sorry.
No, look, I understand. I do. Dead Kelly is not an easy band to digest, and as far as like the albums go, that's probably one of their better ones. But I feel like they're more of a singles band. I guess like JC said as well, it's too long of an album. I can't erase Dead Kelly though for the life of me. I want to see them live because I feel like it's not going to be your regular concert. It's going to be like this concert in the middle of the bush that you could die in. I don't know. You know, these guys with balaclavas, you know, probably long machete knives. Like, this is not a knife. This is a knife. You know, it's going to be some kind of
like Mad Max.
No, it's like Mad Max meets Crocodile Dundee. That's exactly what it'll be. You know, that's a Dead Kelly concert in the middle of a bush somewhere. And well, shit, you've seen the video clips what they do with people who jump on stage. Like, yeah, they're not gonna they're gonna smack their guitars in your head. So yeah, I think like if I went to see Dead Kelly live, it would be one of those jaw-dropping moments. Like, holy crap, what is happening? There is just so much insanity and passion. So I think Dead Kelly would be the perfect band to see live. Which kind of leaves me with a hard choice as to who do I erase. And to be honest, would be Dandelion, unfortunately. It sucks because like they're a cool band, I like them, but out of these three, you know, selections, it's a hard list. I was grappling between which one would I, you know, erase. Would it be I Mother Earth or Dandelion? But the more I thought about it, you know, it was like, no, actually, I want to listen to I Mother Earth. They've just got this really cool vibe. You know, as much as I like Dandelion and what they had, I think I Mother Earth had more to what I could definitely come back and listen to. You know, more vibrancy, more elements to their music. There's definitely something that they can come to. But yeah, Dandelion, unfortunately, would be erased. Dead Kelly, I would see live. And I Mother Earth would be listened to forever. So that is my picks in regards to this interesting list. And I would like to once again thank all of the panel that I have on board here. We've got Hector from Chill Dude on the Couch. Make sure to go and check out his channel. He does lots of interviews, of course. He does the Is It This Bad series and does some, of course, all of us actually, we've been on, I think, Is It That Bad as well. Yeah, so we've been on various episodes for that, and that's always an interesting one to check out. And, of course, he does reviews on music. Hector, once again, thank you for being on the channel.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
That's the way. And JC, Rock and Metal Reviews. The guy is a freaking encyclopedia as far as all the music knowledge in his head goes. Like, JC has just such a wealth of knowledge, and it's always good to see his lists and his discussions in regards to the music that he has on offer. Make sure to go and check out his channel for, of course, all of his material that he discusses, because, Dan, there is some interesting stuff that you go over, JC. JC, good to have you on board on the channel, and thank you for being part of the panel.
Thanks.
Yep. And Nick from Nick Sino Music, make sure, thank you once again for coming on the panel. This is your first time, and I would love to have you on board again. Nick, you do a lot of music related content as well. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, you got a band as well, don't you?
Yeah, I do. We're called Fools Union.
Fools Union, there we go. We can find you on Apple Music, can we, or is it just YouTube?
Yeah, we're everywhere. Yeah, Fools Union on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere. Yep.
Perfect then.
Would you imagine if you picked your own band and we erased?
It's okay. I can take it. You guys, that's what you guys really want.
And all of a
That's
sudden he's
fine.
like, no.
I fade away like Marty McFly. Like, you know,
Like, remember the never-ending story, like the nothing takes you.
That Polaroid's just in the corner. He's playing his guitar, like, and I erase him. And I erase him. So Nick from Nick Sino Music, damn. Wow, you caught me off the back
It's a
foot.
joke, man.
Don't worry, we won't erase you.
right.
Nick from Nick Sino Music. Make sure to go and check him out. Of course, all the links to all of these guys' videos and band will be in the comment section below as well. Nick, thank you once again for coming on board for this episode of Live Listen Erased.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. And once again, thank you for all the people again who introduced all these bands, because, Dan, there's some really interesting stuff, and I would like to hear your thoughts out there, people. Make sure to comment below as to which bands and records you would erase, which ones you would listen to forever, and, of course, which ones you would like to see live. We always like to read the comment sections, and as always, people, you have a great day, and stay spicy out there. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content, because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.